Welcome to another episode of You Don't Know Jack with Lydia and Matt. How's it going, Matt?
Good, Lydia. It's the happy hour edition.
It is the happy hour edition.
Friday happy hour edition.
My husband's in the kitchen where he belongs, making us dinner.
Exactly. Season 6, episode 4.
Yep.
So here we are.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim, for dinner.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, shout out to Tim.
You know,
it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do shrimp tacos.
I saw some shrimp. I saw some sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
A lot of ins and outs, what have yous.
It's all gonna be delicious. I assure everybody listening. We are going to be eating well,
yes.
and we're going to also watch the first game of the World Series.
Right.
So maybe we should start there.
Yeah. So let's start. So actually, I think before we start at the World Series, we have to talk about Game 4 of the NLCS.
Yes.
Okay, so
absolutely.
Shohei Ohtani
the most ridiculous game.
He's pitching.
You were so awake, which I couldn't believe.
And he strikes out 10 in 6+ innings.
Yep.
Okay, which is he had a great outing.
That's good enough on its own.
Right, great outing.
We're all like,
oh, but by
wonderful.
the way, he decided to, he was batting and hit 3 home runs, including one out of frickin' Dodger Stadium.
So I don't know the official number on this. I hear 450 and then I hear 480. So I mean,
but it left
whatever.
the ballpark.
He's the first and only player to do that
in the playoffs. It's happened in regular season. It's never happened in the playoffs.
But I'm like, come on.
Yes.
And it was totally chill about it. Like, it's the Ohtani way.
And the funny thing was, Shohei Ohtani had not played very well the first 3 games of the series, and then put on a performance for the ages.
Well, he turned and burned.
So, and you'll hear the hyperbole, oh, was it the greatest game? Blah, blah, blah. This is one of those moments. This is arguably the greatest single game a major league player has played. And you got to understand, we've been playing baseball for like 140 years.
We've got a lot to pick and choose from. But I have never in my life, my short life, in the whole scheme of baseball, I haven't seen anything like that.
I've never seen I was like racking my brain. And so I think of all time great performances in a baseball game. So one that clearly jumps out, I think, to most people is Reggie Jackson. Game 6, 3 home runs, the curtain call.
That was the comparable, right?
But Reggie played an adequate right field. He didn't pitch.
Completely different.
Now, Ohtani's been in the NLCS. Reggie did it in the World Series. I get that. Hence why this is when Reggie Jackson became known as Mr. October. Now, don't forget, he had won multiple World Series already with the A's.
Yeah.
But still, this is when he truly became Mr. October. And
I think he'll remain Mr. October.
I agree with that. But that's a performance. I look at like a single game. Jack Morris pitched 10 innings in a Game 7 to win the World Series. Dominant. Oral Hershiser, 3 different games for the Dodgers, 1, 4, and 7 to win them all in 88. But just in one game. I'm not talking about the playoffs or over a series.
Yeah, it's
but
just a game.
Singular greatest game, regular or playoffs. I mean, okay, I
still think about that game, which makes me think about, there's games you think about all the time about like, oh, remember that game and this happened. It's like all the ingredients happen. Like, I've never, ever seen a game like that.
You could say Don Larson pitches a perfect game, and he pitched a perfect game. So did he pitch better than Ohtani? Yes. But he didn't hit 3 bombs.
Right, he's not hitting.
Now, he would have been hitting in 54 or 56 whenever he did it, but still, Don Larson was an over. No one ever talked about, oh, by the way, he mixed in three dongs while he was at it.
Exactly.
No, he threw a perfect game.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's another one you might put in the mix. But to do both, it's insane. So here's the thought.
It's incredible mental gymnastics, I would imagine.
So Shohei's getting $70 million a year on average for 10 years. Here's a crazy thought. I was talking to one of my buddies, big baseball guy. Is Shohei underpaid? Because think about it. He's a frontline starter.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So a frontline starter goes for about 30, 35 million, $40 million a year. And he's the best hitter in baseball. So what's that?
So you think he's undervalued at $70 million?
I sure don't think he's over, because think about it. You get
so when we I'll have to go back and listen to the
episode. You certainly get value here.
Well, so this is interesting. Yeah. I'm going to go back and listen to,
because we talked about that.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the archives,
right,
and pull it up and listen to it and see what we said then. And I guarantee you were like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Who does he?
How's he getting this?
Is this a higher risk? All this kind of stuff. I'll be interested to listen to that episode to see exactly. And now we're like, okay, so he has had Tommy John surgery. That's happened.
Right.
Okay, great. So that was the biggest risk. He's already done that. While he was rehabbing that, he was hitting.
Right.
So it wasn't like he wasn't benched.
And while he was rehabbing that last year, he went 50-50.
Yeah.
First player in baseball to go 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases.
Yeah.
Dodgers won a World Series. So think about it. If they win the World Series, that we're going to talk about the World Series preview.
Yeah.
If they win the World Series again, they have certainly made their money back for that $700 million.
100%.
2 World Series, back-to-back World Series, are clearly you're getting ROI on that $700 million.
Well, heard somebody say there's going to be, if the Dodgers win the World Series, there's going to be a lot of kids named Otani Hernandez.
Because one of the Hernandez guys,
exactly.
There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them, but I'm just
Kike and I forget the other. It'll come to me, but yes, they both.
The Hernandez is
but not related.
Unrelated, but I'm just saying. I just look at a lot of kids name Otani. But I think you're probably right. I mean, for the consistency that he is giving out and performing week over, game after game, week over week, and that's the thing. He's still hitting even if he's pitching. Yeah. So it's like he's got to be dressed and ready to rock.
But and by the way, other than they're protecting his arm, he can play in elite right field. They're not playing him in right field.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Shohei Ohtani is an elite right fielder. The guy, I just commented, he stole 50 bases. He runs like a deer. He is very fast. Mm-hmm. He clearly has a howitzer of an arm.
Yeah, so he can.
He plays a very, very slick right field.
Well, that's good, just in case he can't pitch.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like an all-arounder, but like dangerous in every position.
Yes, he's. I mean, crazy.
And we also have to talk.
But it's a week later, and I'm still sitting there thinking, like, I can't put anything on my finger on anything to say. It's one of the elite athletic here's what that rivals in my mind.
Okay.
That rivals Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points.
Okay.
Like, listen, that's what this feels like.
You know why I am having a hard time, like, kind of making an analogy is because I haven't seen anything like this before.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, here we're like, he's the Michael Jordan of this. No. This is like a whole different ball of wax because none of us have ever seen a player like this ever. Okay. And Tim and I have had discussions where he's like, he might be the best player in baseball ever.
I mean, so if I was looking if you asked me about football, I would say Joe Montana against the Broncos in the Super Bowl where he torched them like 55-10.
Sure.
He threw like 5 times. I mean, Montana just was like, just dotting the eye.
Yeah.
It was one of the great football performances I've ever seen. Football's a little harder to do it on, but still, like there's some, at the biggest moment, and this is almost the biggest stage, I don't know. I just can't, but the only thing that I could wrap my head around is this akin to, if Chamberlain scored 100 in the NBA Finals, he scored in the regular. I mean,
right.
But it's something. It's just insane. Like
there's nothing to compare it to. Right. So that's why we're having such a difficult time.
Right. But we still talk about Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points in a game 60 years after.
Well, we're gonna talk about this. Everything's gonna be like from this point forward, and then and post Ohtani.
We've talked about Don Larson's perfect game in baseball for 70 years in the World Series. Okay, this is in that. I think that's in the discussion for sure. But it's insane. So I mean, I still.
I mean, it was so insane. I woke Tim up to watch the replay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was downstairs. Tim was in bed like a sensible human, and I'm still up. Well, we were both up because I was like, I'll send you this text. You'll get it in the morning, and you responded.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening?
I know.
So you saw it in real time.
I did.
But I was like screaming downstairs, like, oh my God. And then I was like, Tim, you have to watch this. And he's like, what?
You cannot.
And he was equally as excited about it.
What was it? Wasn't it Jack Buck's famous calls? I can't believe what I just saw. Like, I mean, I think that's what he said. I think they may have been when Ozzie Smith walked it off in '87, hit a home run. See you tomorrow. The next day.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe what I just saw. Yeah. I mean, it was. Again, it was a performance for the ages.
I just couldn't believe it. Yeah, and I was talking to my dad, who's he watches sports whenever, but he's not really. He really wants to see a good game, and as he says, I haven't paid attention to the red flops in years. And I said, okay, fine. But we were talking to him about Ohtani, and he is like heard about this guy, but he doesn't really know. So we're telling him about this guy, and I was like, I said, you've got to see this. Like, you got to see this hit. And he was like, what are you talking about? So I pulled it up and I showed him the hit, and he was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
was like,
it's just, it's insane. So we have coming up the World Series starts tonight. First pitch tonight.
Yeah.
First pitch tonight. Blue
We're
Jays.
going to watch it together.
I'm going to hang out for like maybe an inning. I'll probably be exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Well, I will just say for the record, we do have a couch that is very comfortable.
I know, but I have a 13-pound terrorist that's waiting for me to come.
I understand that, but I'm just letting you know.
I know.
The couch might suck you in.
I know, and I'm worried about that. I've sat on that couch. I've watched football there. I know, I'm worried. But so World Series Game 1 tonight. Yeah. Blue Jays are hosting.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Jays had the better record, but the Dodgers are seen as the prohibitive favorite.
Well, yeah. I mean, also the Blue Jays haven't been in the World Series in
30 years.
30 years,
yeah.
right? So, I mean, they're a long shot, I think. Do you think that's going to be a total shutout? I mean,
no. I would. So to skip ahead to where I think the Dodgers in 6. I think the Blue Jays will find the ways to win a game or two. It could be 5, but I'm thinking the Blue Jays or the Dodgers in 6.
Dodgers in 6. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers. Okay, I do not think their 4 starters can pitch like they did in the NLCS. I just don't think that's possible again. I mean, because Yamamoto, Snell,
complete game.
Glasnow and Ohtani were just lights out. Okay, I don't think you're going to see that. I think one of them will hit a speed bump for sure. I just don't think you can pitch that good. Maybe I'm wrong. So I think that the Blue Jays will find a way to steal a game or two.
I'm going to say Dodgers in 7, and the only reason is because I don't want baseball to be over.
Understandable.
Yeah, and I want a good series.
I think the Dodgers are, with Ohtani, with Mookie, with Freddie Freeman, with the Hernandez.
Yeah.
Hernandez.
Yeah. With Hernandez.
Yeah, but I think
if everything's firing on all cylinders, this might be a very quick series.
Yeah, it really could be. Dodgers.
But then again,
Max Muncy, Max Muncy's one of those guys.
Oh yeah.
That man, when he gets hot, he can carry you. Like he's just one of those guys that just like you're like, oh, who's this guy? Next thing you know, bang, he goes like he bats 400 in the World Series and something like that. He's one of those guys. Freddie Freeman can clearly carry the load. Mookie can carry the load. We know Ohtani can carry the load. So they just have so many guys that can, if one of them, they don't need them all to be hot.
No, they
so
don't.
much talent. The Blue Jays clearly need Vlad to play like he did in the ALCS.
Of course.
Vladimir Guerrero was just play. I mean, just
dynamite. Well, that's the thing, So you're sitting there watching the Blue Jays and you're like, okay, so they got one player who's on fire right now. Yeah. And they've done a really good job. And I don't want to listen. Everybody knows on this podcast how we feel about the Blue Jays. Okay.
Yep, not big fans.
Not huge fans. But I will say, good baseball, and they were the better team over the Mariners. But I honestly feel like I would have had rather the Mariners, but that's okay.
The Mariners remain the only team in Major League Baseball to have never gone to the World Series.
I know, and that would have been a story.
But so for the Blue Jays, I mean, Vlad's going to has to carry the load for them. I don't know that their pitching's good enough to hold up. They will get Bo Bichette back, who was one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
Can Springer stay hot? Springer was dinged up. He was fighting. He got hit in the knee in Game 5.
Yeah,
he was sort of gimpy, and it was almost a Kirk Gibson kind of moment there.
I got to tell you, I wouldn't want to be hit with a 20-mile-an-hour ball. I can't imagine
95
at the knee. Yeah. The fact that your patella didn't shatter everywhere.
So
Lord.
I think, but it is Toronto's going to host. They host the first 2 games. I think if Toronto wants to make it a series, man, they could. They cannot get swept out of Toronto.
Yeah, I'm excited for them to have a series in Toronto. I think it's great. I also feel like, it's literally the other side of the country from each other. Like we are playing one side versus the other. So it should be an interesting series. I'm hoping that, obviously I wanted to go 7 games because, the saddest day in the calendar for me is whoever wins the day after the World Series.
But then see, I think then the day after that, I'm like, how many days till the pitchers and catchers report?
Well, that's my next thing.
We're going to see what the hot stove gets. That's when the hot stove, that's when it's called the hot stove.
Yeah.
Heating up.
So yeah. No, I mean, we won't not talk about baseball because you and I are fanatics about that. But, it's like slightly depressing, and then I look up when pitchers and catchers report, and then I look to see when I can get spring training tickets, and then we start the whole thing all over again.
And that's the nice thing about baseball; it'll always be back. But yeah, so but by the way, speaking of that, they're already hinting about at the end of the next season.
Yeah.
And in 2026, the labor contract expires. So what's going to happen?
They better not have a strike because I can't. My poor heart couldn't take it.
But so the World Series, I think, is always an exciting time, even though it is our pastime, and even though we're going to play part of it in Canada. No, I'm for. I picked the Dodgers in 6. I want the Dodgers to win because I do not like the Blue Jays.
Same.
But I hope the Blue Jays.
I want it to be a good series.
Well for themselves because I want it to be a good series.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Okay, so speaking of Canadians, let's talk about the NBA since the NBA was founded in Canada. When this came out of left field yesterday, I'm so sorry, but I was in the office yesterday, and Stu likes to have the TV on, and I was walking into my office and I saw FBI arrests NBA scandal. Like that's just the ticker or whatever, and I'm like, what? Didn't have a chance to look into it until I got home, and then I started reading, and holy macaroni. Literally.
It is a very weird story there's kind of multiple things going on here.
Okay, you know how we say things are multifaceted? This could not be a truer definition of that. Okay, so we have it's insanity. Like, this is insanity. So there's 2 schemes going on at the same time with the same group of people.
Right.
So you've got Terry Rozier, who is like Miami guard Heat.
Right. He's a
He's a player, right? So he's a guard. And he was arrested in Orlando for insider sports betting schemes.
Right.
Okay. So keep that in mind. So he was for insider trading, right? Or insider scheming.
Essentially akin to insider.
I'm going to sit out a game, or so-and-so is going to sit out. I have inside information I can share with you if you're betting.
So remember, I don't do it, but on DraftKings or things like that, you can bet like the individual players, like the over/under on how many points Rozier is going to score, how many assists, how many rebounds,
and you can make money on all those.
Right, and so the allegations are, in at least one instance, he tipped people off.
Yep.
The allegations are for $100,000 that he to bet the under on him because he's going to go out with a foot injury.
Right.
And he only played 9 minutes in the game, and anybody who bet the under on points, assists, rebounds, steals, they won.
Okay.
So that's piece one.
Piece one. That's one facet. Right. Second facet, Chauncey Billups. He's the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, former player, Hall of Famer.
AKA Mr. Big Shot.
Mr. Big Shot, yep. He was arrested for alleged, these are all alleged, so just keep that in mind. Alleged, because everybody's innocent until proven guilty, participation in a separate but related gambling scheme involving rigged poker games tied to organized crime.
Right. So Mr. Big Shot would be, Chauncey Billups would say, hey, they would talk to, in card parlance as whales, okay?
Yes.
Those are big money,
spenders.
big spenders that play big cash games.
Yeah.
And they would say, hey, you want to come play a poker game? Chauncey Billups is going to be there.
Mr. Big Shot.
Mr. Big Shot. So these guys are sitting down playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're using...
Oh, we'll get into that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But so the theory is, we're going to get into the details. It was a rigged game.
It's a rigged game. And we'll get into the James Bond-esque stuff that's going on.
So that's piece 2.
That's piece 2. Then you have piece 3, which is Damon Jones. And he's a former NBA player and a coach.
Yep.
And he was also named in the indictments for alleged roles in both schemes.
Right. And he was especially on the insider. Like, he knew, like, oh, hey,
I'm benching this player tonight.
Or that so-and-so, before it's announced, hey, bet the under. Bet the Mavericks heavy. LeBron's not going to play.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
That's inside information.
Yes, that's sort of the inside, though.
Okay, so the last facet is there's 30 plus individuals. Some reports saying they're up to 34 people across 11 states who are being charged in connection with both of these schemes. These are the main players, like the big whales, your term. That are being called out for this. Okay, so it is non-public information that they're sending out to people. Okay. And then, so one example for the Heat guard, Rozier, he told a friend that he planned to leave a game for a supposed injury, which is the ankle or foot, which led to large bets being placed on the under
on his stats.
Right. So that's how that's working. He left 9.5 minutes, scored 5 points, 2 assists. Okay. So they knew automatically that that's the thing. So now my question is, as a Miami Heat fan, you're looking at these games now. Are you like, what, and you're thinking, man, that's weird, you know.
Right.
Now you have to go back and analyze all these games, looking at it through a whole new lens. And the NBA is like, oh my God, how did this happen? And so there's all these, and how do you even start to think about regulating this?
Right. This is the problem
Oh.
with, you know, we've cozied up with gambling and,
Yeah,
and
and
about
I
where
think
you can bet on not just like, oh, Miami's going to cover. And it's so easy to gamble now. I mean, but now it's like, again, we're betting on individual player stats and things like that.
I mean, it could be like what color shoes he's gonna.
Yeah, I mean,
it is. And that's the thing. It's like with DraftKings and like MGM Grant, like all the major casinos have these online betting apps.
Sportsbook,
Yeah, exactly. And so my thought is like, okay, because this is so prolific, you're asking for players. It's almost taunting players to be like, don't. How can you not do this? It's like, it's just a nice little.
well, but if you think about it, I mean, if you look at it, you would think the one that would be the least susceptible to this would
be
arguably the NBA, because the players get
There's
paid
so
so much. Well,
Yeah.
there's so few players. You got to understand.
Yeah.
Because there's so few NBA players.
Well, they're
these
well
guys
compensated.
These guys,
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away. I'm not trying to take anybody's bag from them, but I'm talking role players are making $6-7 million a year.
Listen.
So like, does a $50,000 really move the needle for an NBA player?
Well, I don't know.
But it's clearly it did.
Okay, so now we're gonna up the craziness. You ready for
We're
this?
talking about the poker stuff
We're
now.
getting into
This
poker.
is crazy.
Okay, we're getting into the.
Yeah.
This is the fourth
Right.
facet. Ready?
Yeah.
High stakes poker game. It's rigged. People are like, oh, so the dealers knows where the cards
Or
are.
he's dealing from the bottom. No.
It is like are wearing special glasses. The cards are marked with special ink to know which cards
Right.
are what. The shuffler.
The shuffler is rigged.
There's X-ray on the table.
They can see
the
face down
cards. Okay, and what I think that blew my mind. And then there's something going on with the poker chips too.
Yeah.
Like the poker chips could like see cards or whatever. Like if you had a stack in front of you.
Yeah, this
it
is
had
like
some
straight
sort of
James
sense of-
Bond.
It is insanity. I'm like, number one, to go through, you must really need the money if you're doing all this to get the thing. This is for $7 million, people.
Well, and but you also left out. We talked about some of the NBA players.
Oh.
But who they're involved with.
Okay.
It is the who's who
It's the who's
of
who's
the mafiosos.
Right. It is the Genovese family, the Gambino family. Everybody should know the word Gambino.
John Gotti.
And then the Bonanno family.
Bonanno. Lucchese.
Yeah, it is insanity. And you're just sitting there like, oh, man, this is interesting. And then you're like, boom. But that's what I'm saying. You're going to get slapped in the face in all directions because you're just like, what is happening here?
I said to Lydia, saw some of the names. And, of course, the nicknames. They have the great mob nicknames.
Sure.
But one of my favorites I saw was also arrested in this was Anthony Ruggiero Jr.
Uh-huh.
And because I sort of remember stupid things like this, I know who Anthony Ruggiero is.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of John Gotti's really kind of chief lieutenants when Gotti was first coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Ruggiero was his senior, was AKA Quack Quack, because he talked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So his son was one of the Gambino crime family members that have been indicted. Now, who says you can't get people to work together? Usually the mobs are fighting for it. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Well,
man.
so I think, the game has changed, right? I mean, you're not, people are betting online. They don't have loan sharks anymore.
Right. But by the way, but still, you're playing cash games.
Yeah.
Some of these people.
Yes.
And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
When they didn't pay, the mob did what the mob does,
exactly.
which is it's threats, it's coercion. So it's classic mob mentality.
It's insane.
I think this story is going to continue to have legs.
I think it's going to continue to unfold, and we're going to be privy to information that we're like, what? So the indictment identifies 7 games between 2023 and 2024 that were targeted through insider information.
Right. And some of them, absolutely, they said, involve LeBron James. No, LeBron had nothing to do with it, but it was about betting on.
Yes.
People were making bets because the inside information
knew he was injured.
He was or wasn't going to play.
Exactly.
What his status was.
Right. And then the poker case allegedly defrauded victims of about $7 million with tech-driven cheating. So that's with the X-rays and the shufflers.
Yep.
And Billups was going in there being like, yeah, I'll play. I'm not that great,
And
but I'll figure it out.
that it was rigged. That was the thing.
He knew it was rigged. He was wearing special glasses.
And he got paid. It wasn't about the gambling winnings. He got paid for playing in the game. He got like $100,000, $50,000.
He was basically a pawn in the game. Yeah. His job was, I'm playing this game. I'm gonna
be Chauncey Billups.
I'm gonna come and chat you guys up. Yeah. You're gonna have a story to tell your people that you played poker with Chauncey Billups and he beat the pants off you and blah blah blah. Hey, did you know Chauncey Billups is a really good poker player?
And hey, if Chauncey Billups wants to show up in Vegas and say you want to play against Chauncey Billups and it's fair straight up, and he gets, that's all cool.
Yeah.
But they rigged it.
Yeah, it's insane. So that's what's happening. So now my philosophical question for you: how do they determine if a player is really injured or not now?
Yeah, are you going to have an independent
person? Do you have to have
But by the way,
is that something you have to
think about this? I have back pain. I can't play. How do I prove
that you have back pain?
That I have pain.
Right. That's the problem. You can't.
Yeah, my foot is killing me, right? How do you prove that? You might look at it and say, well, there's no swelling, but you push on it and I jump and I say, man, I can't go right now.
Well, that's a sign, right?
Yeah.
You do diagnostics based on signs and symptoms.
Right, but pain is
a symptom.
Is symptom,
and
it is the most subjective symptom.
Correct. So,
your Lydia could be sitting here and say she has a scale of 1 to 10, her pain is 8. I could have the same cut on. Let's say she has a cut on her hand. She says it's an 8. I could have the same cut, same location. They could say, "What's your pain?" I could say it's 2.
I think it would be reversed, but that's
right.
Okay.
But the point being is,
I know.
The point is, it is so subjective. So
this my favorite thing with patients, I would say, can you tell me what's going on? It hurts.
Right.
What the hell does that mean?
Right.
It hurts.
Right.
Okay, can you be more specific? Where does it hurt?
Right.
Or does it hurt? What activities do you do when it hurts?
Right.
So it's kind of, you have to figure it out a little bit. But honestly, so how do you say, oh, I have a foot injury?
Yeah.
Okay, is it soft tissue? We got to get an MRI.
Right.
Is there fluid? Is there, you have to say, okay, I can't just take your word. So do you go that extreme with it? Do you say, okay, like I know when both the Kelseys were still playing in the NFL, they couldn't do the ad reads for their podcast for DraftKings or whatever the betting app was. So they had their producer read it and they couldn't be privy to it and they couldn't, they couldn't make any money off of the DraftKings app, but the podcast could, right? Them personally, but the podcast could. They set it up so that they were, on the street and they would say, hey, we can't be involved in this. So we're out. And our producer's reading this. They're very transparent about it. So my thing with the prevalence of online betting and being super easy and the relaxed regulations nationwide for this, is that a good thing for sports in general or is it not? Because now we're in this weird gray area with players. You're always going to have a player that can be influenced one way or the other.
When we didn't trust the integrity of baseball, it was 100 years ago.
I know.
And that's when we ended up with Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis, and that's when we had the Black Sox scandal, and to restore integrity to baseball.
Yeah.
So how this plays out, it is to be determined. But I will tell you, this has got legs. It's going to continue to have legs.
And what I'm so appreciative is the fact that you are a lawyer, so you will be able to get a little bit of insight of being like, okay, well, this is maybe a new charge or a new.
Yeah. And so, by the way, and of course, the classic is because it was the game was rigged.
Yeah.
Well, what we tag them all on is wire fraud, mail-in wire fraud, because it's rigged. And so I Venmo Lydia $50,000 for playing in the game.
Yeah.
But because it was rigged, the minute I sent it to Lydia, I committed wire fraud. The minute she accepted it, she committed wire fraud. That's how you get them on wire fraud.
Right.
So that's the essence of wire fraud.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not necessarily that's a fraud. Like I owed you $50,000, but I owed it to you because we had this illicit scheme, and that's what makes it. So that
the
gets
thing
you
we did was illegal.
That gets you, and remember, wire fraud is how you get
every time.
It gets you the federal. That's how the Fed gets involved.
Right.
So I mean. Kaj Patel, is going to see people in Valhalla. He'll be talking. He got the watch. I mean, I don't know.
Oh my God, that guy! What a moron.
Yeah.
Okay, so the NFL
is thrilled that it's not them.
Let me tell you, they're like, whew.
Yes.
They reminded their players of their gambling policy in light of all the indictments, and they're basically saying, like, look, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I think that baseball probably will make a statement at some point. probably in the post
Probably want to get through the World Series.
Get through the World Series, and then they'll talk about it during the hot stove and stuff, And baseball and Ohtani is not. I mean, that was a huge scandal.
Yes,
right.
I mean,
so baseball is still. I mean, that was that, and I was like, oh, is this like the Ohtani thing? And then you're like, no, this is not it at all. Like I came home and did a deep dive.
This is like, I mean, and remember, this isn't the first time in the recent time with the NBA, because remember, what was it? Tim Donaghy, the official, that was in the gambling, and was he fixing games? So I mean, so by the way, of all the sports, the one most susceptible to point shaving is basketball.
Yeah,
because again, your team can still win, but you can have a bad night shooting.
It's not as right.
It's harder to tell. Yes,
yeah, it's not as obvious. But I will say, I think the NFL is good for getting ahead of it.
Yeah.
The first time in a long time. They were like, oh, well, maybe we should just, reinforce that, players can't bet on NFL games and they can't share inside information. And, like, hey, by the way, don't do any of this.
And so one of the things that sports, though, do try to do to prevent this is get out in front on the injury reports, like being transparent on injuries.
Put them out as fast as possible.
Lamar's questionable, and here's what's going on.
He's got sciatica.
Yeah, or that's LeBron. He's got sciatica. Yeah.
Who did you say?
Lamar Jackson. Yeah,
sorry.
With the hamstring or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why the injury reports. You're like, why do we talk about this?
Because it's
about gambling.
It's about gambling, and I think it's sort of like, okay, if anybody's questionable, it needs to come out right away.
And so then we don't want one person to have that information, the other person don't. So that's why we do the injury.
I mean, might as well just tweet it for God's sakes and be like, so and so's got a turf toe done. Like Burrows, he's out.
But so here's one of the things that's always going to make something suspicious is like, okay, let's keep using Lamar or LeBron. And either one of them, they're not on the injury report. They're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to play.
Yep.
And they get her. So bets go in. Okay. Bets aren't going in at the last second. They're going in up to the point.
Yeah.
And then in the pregame, they get hurt. And now they're not going to play. Well, that has drastically skewed the odds of what's going to happen. I mean, because what do you think the chances are, like, on if you're betting the over under, i.e., how many points the Ravens and the Bears are going to score combined?
Right.
Boy, I have a different view on what the over-under looks like if Lamar Jackson's playing versus he's not, right? And so if they say, yep, Lamar's off the injury report, he's full go for Sunday, and then at 12:45 they say, oh, Lamar's not playing, boy, that's why they're always – now, we know injuries can happen, but I'm saying that's what makes that very suspicious.
Here's my thought on it. If, I don't bet on anything.
Me neither.
So – I work hard for my money. I like to keep it right where it is. If I'm going to bet on something, it's going to be in the stock market. But I just don't bet. Like, I don't get it. Like, Price bets, and he has a really lovely time with it. And, it's something he enjoys. Right. He finds enjoyment out of it. But I just feel like it might be ruining the beauty of the sport, right? A little bit. I mean, a purist is kind of, all or nothing, but I'm just saying, if you're going to bet on something, maybe you shouldn't be able to bet on absolutely everything. Right.
Because it's all, but the thing is, betting has always been an integral part of sports, but maybe we have to say, we're not going to let you bet on those details about the individual players.
That's what I'm saying. I think the things
and so the
that
question is
cause problems.
Well, and also it's not just for the leagues. It's for like DraftKings. They got to make sure they're not getting scammed.
Yeah.
Or you keep using DraftKings, Caesars, whatever.
Right. We're saying DraftKings is
your mobile betting.
Your
app.
mobile betting.
Where
app.
do they start saying, you know what, we're not going to let you bet in that kind of granular detail because it's too susceptible for us to be taken advantage of.
Right. And I think that they have to. I think they need to lead the charge in that. Those particular platforms need to lead the charge in that. And by stating that, yes, you're going to lose money, but is it better than not being allowed? It's basically to bet on things. Yeah. Right. So
more to come on this. This will be a continuing story. And
to be continued. Yeah. All right. So for people who have forgotten, we had some pretty terrible flooding here a few months back.
Western Maryland, Westernport.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, parts of West Virginia were hit at the same time with similar flooding.
Yes, exactly right.
That's to level set where this story's going.
Right. So, state of Maryland applied for FEMA relief. For our area, Georges Creek area. It was denied the first time. Right. We reapplied and we
filed for reconsideration.
We filed reconsideration. The paperwork was filled out appropriately both times.
Correct. And despite the rumor mill that somehow the governor, and by the way, governors do not personally fill out paperwork, but there was the rumor, well, our governor didn't fill out the paperwork incorrectly. He didn't fill out the paperwork. The state of Maryland properly filled out the paperwork both times.
Right. So just to be clear, the paperwork was filled out correctly. We were denied yet again.
Right. But so from the same flood, or the same heavy rains that led to flooding.
Yes. West Virginia,
the mountain state. West Virginia
funding.
had flooding.
Yeah. Very close to where we were.
Yeah. And their FEMA application was approved.
Immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they had it 2-3 months ago.
Yes.
Ours was denied.
This is a very
now the only difference
thinly veiled
is that Maryland is a traditional Democratic state with a Democratic governor who's an outspoken critic of
the current administration,
as opposed to West Virginia, which has become a Republican state, and they have a lapdog little troll. No, it's not Justice. It's Morrissey now. The little.
But Justice.
It was Justice, but now it's a little troll, Patrick Morrissey.
Yeah.
So
So he got his money, but
so they got their bag, and Maryland didn't.
So now I will say.
So by the way, this part of Maryland where we sit, and in particular the Georges Creek region,
very red,
is extraordinarily red. You're talking like 70% of the folks in these districts voted Republican.
They voted for 47.
For Trump.
So
and they were denied.
They were denied.
And so you got folks with no furnaces. You got streets that these towns can't afford to rebuild.
Nope.
You've got infrastructure that is damaged, and
it's a public safety concern.
And there's no FEMA relief.
No FEMA relief, and I mean the county is just getting hit left and right and center. We had an animal shelter issue.
We'll move on from that one.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
We got to move on from that one.
Seriously. Animal shelter issue, then also water and Bel Air issue, and then they're getting smacked in the face with this particular FEMA denial, which means that for the first time in a very, very long time, the county might have to actually go get a loan.
Well, but think about this: as you and I are county residents,
and city residents, where's that?
And so
special?
listen, and I needed a new furnace last year.
Yes.
I bought a new furnace last year.
Yes, you did.
About $7,500 for those who are interested.
Yeah.
I didn't get relief for that. So
you got tax credit.
Right, but I got tax. But why? If you think about it, this is a question that we have to ask. Yeah. And so these folks, I feel really bad. I have relatives in the Georges Creek region, but their furnace is broken because of a flood, but their furnace is broken just as mine was broken. Mine did not break because of flood, but it broke.
Did they have flood insurance?
Right. But they probably did not, because it's probably they're uninsurable for flood insurance because where they sit. And so we're going to go, the county, we're going to borrow money. Thus, we all as taxpayers are going to pay to buy, in my example, Lydia, a new furnace.
I don't know if it's necessarily furnace, because I think that were committed to doing infrastructure that absolutely needs to happen.
But here's the other question. Do you invest? Is it a sound investment? I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying this is my position, but I throw it out here as a concept. We're going to invest in, so they're redoing Westernport Elementary School, spending millions of dollars to fix that.
Well, they have to.
Well, okay, but they're spending millions of dollars.
Yep.
They're going to spend millions of dollars on these streets, okay? But none of this there's no flood remediation happening, since we're fixing like the flood controls like we have in Cumberland, okay?
Yeah.
So if we get these so we're going to go borrow $10 million, fix the roads of our friends and neighbors and Georges Creek.
I mean,
but there's no protection.
At one point, they had mules here taking things up very broken roads to get people like basic necessities.
Right.
So I just want to put the painting the picture for people that forget about that.
Right, but I'm saying, so we're going to go spend this money.
Yeah.
Taxpayer money. Local taxpayer money, which then keeps us on a very local level from us being able to borrow money to go build a new school if we need a school somewhere else. Okay.
Right.
For something that is just as susceptible to flood. So let's say you spend $4 or $5 million at Westernport Elementary School. Great place. They do a nice job there.
Yep.
But we spend $4 or $5 million. We didn't fix why the flood happened.
Well,
the flood happens again. So then what do we do? So
here's the thing.
And only be denied FEMA again.
That school was built for flooding.
Right.
And guess what happened?
It flooded.
The water was higher than the flood that they built into that school when it was new, not that long ago.
Right. But I'm still saying, if you think about it, wherever we're doing So it's
the
it's
core
a real,
issue is that FEMA should not be at the whim of one person. If you meet the qualifications, you should get it no matter what your red state, blue state, whatever that is. We now live in a world where that's just the norm, which is unfortunate.
So let's flash forward ahead and let's hope and dream. It's 2029.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom is the president of the United States.
Okay, just
go with me.
Yep.
A major flood hits the Gulf of the Gulf of Mexico, because we'll go back to calling it that. A storm comes up the Gulf. Well, that's what
it's called.
Right, correct. A storm comes up the Gulf, and Mississippi and Alabama are waylaid.
Yeah.
Pounded with storms.
Mm-hmm.
They apply for FEMA.
Yep.
What do you want to see Gavin Newsom do?
I want him to help people. Because at the end of the day, here's the thing. People are people. One aspect of you is your political affiliation. That doesn't make you as a whole of a human. And that can go for anything else. Sexual orientation, your preference, and, foods, whatever. People are, more than the sum of their parts, right? So I think that you just need to sit and say, like, if somebody were devastated and I was in that position, I would want to be helped, right? So yes, that's the right thing to do.
So I'm not there yet.
I know.
You know what? See, because part of me.
So what if you live there? You vote blue.
I know.
You do everything right, but everybody around you doesn't.
Well,
do you deserve to suffer?
But let them eat cake. I mean, part of me wants to. No, part of me want.
You know better than that.
I understand that, but part of me says, we have to balance the scales.
You have to balance the scales, and I agree with you. So
and I think there has to be a price extracted for people that are cheering this on. And I understand not all the folks in West Virginia are cheering this on. That the Maryland's getting hosed here or whatever.
Nobody.
But I still think, like, I am not there. Like, listen, I am not. I want someone as of right now, and I hope I can evolve. But I feel really bad for my friends and family in George's Creek that have been denied this. I want someone who's going to run and be my retribution. And I want respect to be paid because I want our friends to understand in red states that this is not, look, and we are a union, good, bad, and indifferent. We're in it. We're supposed to be in this all together.
Yeah.
But if you want to start pulling things apart, don't forget, California, in and of itself, is the 4th largest economy in the world. The blue states pay more in taxes than they get back, and they do support some of the more of the red states. Generally, again, not Texas, not Florida, but you take a lot of the red states, they need Uncle Sugar. They need more federal funds than Maryland does. Maryland can weather this.
Yeah.
Okay? If this was reversed and West Virginia had to come up, or municipalities where you grew up in Kaiser.
Yep.
Kaiser, Mineral County, I don't know they could go get a $30 million bond initiative that Allegheny County can because of the situations between the states. So I want to be there where I say, yeah, we're all Americans, but our friends that are cheering this on, and there are folks that are cheering this on that think this is good.
Well, I know. I think that they are
want to own the libs, but when the libs want to own you back, what are you going to do? And it's just
right. I mean, I think it's an eye for an eye, and the whole world goes blind situation. Yeah. And I think you have to lead by example, and you can just say, like, listen, the reality that the majority of people who are celebrating this, that what's happening, don't live in a fact-based reality.
But then,
but okay, so you can't argue with those people. But what you can do is you can say, listen, now you know what it's like to have lost everything and have nothing, and you had no resources because the person that you thought was going to give you all the resources doesn't really care about you at all. And sometimes you have to learn those hard lessons firsthand. You put your hand on the stove and you got burned. Okay, that's fine. But, let that be a lesson to you not to do it again. Now, if they keep going back and doing it again, then you can't do anything for these people, but you can't also ignore the whole, right?
But then part of it is like, maybe we got to stop my political party as a Democratic Party. Maybe we got to stop bringing a tissue to a knife fight. And I
100% agree with that.
So what I want to do is I don't want to bring a knife to a knife fight. I want to bring an M50. And I want to bring a Desert Eagle 357 to a knife fight.
Listen, I think that,
and I want to knife them so bad that they understand we're not going to do this anymore as Americans. Because, by the way, so let's say in my scenario we flash forward and Gavin Newsom does the right thing, which would arguably be taking care of folks regardless of their political persuasion.
Yeah.
And then let's say in 2033, a Republican, Marco Rubio, gets elected as president. And he does the same thing that Donald Trump does and knifes the folks in FEMA and politicizes FEMA again. So then it's going to be like, okay, so Judas Priest, we had a chance to make this point that we're not going to do this anymore, and we didn't because we took a tissue to a knife fight again.
I agree.
I just don't know. Like, so I want it to be right, but I don't know.
If midterms are coming up for people that are being very pessimistic, midterms are coming up, and it's, we don't have an active or working federal government at all. It's the second longest and will be probably the longest government shutdown in history, because we have somebody who is just sending people home and nobody's wanting to do anything, right? So we're at that point. So if nothing changes, right, in the midterms, you and I probably won't be here.
Maybe not.
So, and meaning like we're not offing ourselves, but we just moved to a different country. Because the truth of the matter is you and I are lucky enough to have the wherewithal to do that. Right. Okay. Most people aren't, but we also can make the decision to immigrate someplace else because we can find a country that aligns with our morals and ethics and values, and we can be there and the noise gets quieter. Right. And it's interesting hearing people that have gone to Europe for vacation, certain countries, and they just are there and they're like, oh my God, like I feel like my shoulders are more relaxed, and like it's just the constant barrage of like craziness constantly.
Because it's every day.
It's every day, and it's every second of every day.
Right. I mean, Steve Bannon saying, on yesterday. Now, I think he's kind of, quite frankly, trolling people.
Of course.
Oh, Donald Trump's going to be president again, 2028. It's just, there's ways.
So that's the thing. It's sort of like they're planning for you to, and don't get this twisted, they're hoping that you choose to just roll over.
Right.
And take it. Because they're already saying it's already happening. They're preparing you for it just happening, and they're saying you're going to let us do it, right? Because we're going to tell you that we're going to do it, and then you're going to be okay with it so much that you're just going to allow it to happen. But I think if this cycle needs to be over, and it needs to be over in a way that is a powerful shift in making sure that laws are ironclad, expanding the Supreme Court. Making sure that there are term limits on senators. And I mean, that's the problem. And, making sure that there is, and you can overturn Citizens United. And some states are doing that. Like, I believe it's South Dakota has written in their law now that you can't take any corporate money because the businesses are not people. So in their state constitution, corporations are no longer people. So that is how they are getting around super PACs and companies donating money. Right. So if you want to donate money, you got to do it personally. You can't hide it in these shell corporations. So that's a way around the Citizens United. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. Which is basically paying for elections.
But by the way, speaking of paying for elections, we have the oligarchy. Yes. Of the United States, the Zuckerbergs and the Musks and the Bezos, coughing up the Tim Apple.
Yeah, Tim Apple. Hanging out in the office.
Hanging out in the office, giving, shitty gold statues or whatever.
Yep.
And they're giving him allegedly $300 million towards his crappy ballroom that he tore down the entire east wing of the frickin' White House.
Nobody talks about that.
To build some gaudy...
Awful that nobody asked for, by the way. So the east wing of the White House is a very iconic, it's a very iconic structure, and it's a way of, it was a greenhouse, and it connects one wing to another. Right. And a lot of diplomats and guests of honor walk through the east wing into the ballroom.
It's one of the primary ways where you meet people.
Correct. And it's a walk and talks happened there. It's sort of a lot of photo ops happen there, lots of meet and greets for people. incredible natural light would come through there. So really wonderful in the
Right.
wintertime. It's now gone. It is gone, lost to the ages, because he took a backhoe to it and didn't consult with the National Historic Trust. Not that any of this should be
Right.
surprising. And now they're saying, okay, now you didn't consult us. We had no say in this. You've destroyed a historical property, and we are not going to approve these plans.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Because
But he's going to build it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
right,
He just
exactly.
doesn't care.
So he's got this like, people are, and by the way, the Tim Apples and the tech guru,
Right.
because these are all
Right.
tech bros.
Yeah.
So these tech bros are coming in and they're giving him money because they don't want him. They want him to not pursue antitrust with
Right.
these
They just
companies.
give right because they're the oligarchy.
Mhm.
This is the American oligarchy.
Right, exactly. And
So
so
I saw like that Musk, Zuckerberg, and Bezos, the
Mhm.
three of them have more wealth than like 65% of Americans combined, 165 million Americans combined.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that-
a problem.
Yeah.
And so, and there's I listened to this podcast episode, and it was a philosopher, and she was saying like, okay, so here's the thought: is it ethical to pass a law that caps how much money you can make?
People would say that is anti-capitalism.
Correct. But I'm just in general, like a worldview. We're not talking a specific country. We're talking ethically. So your own ethics, and if everything being equal, right? So if there's no reason for me to hoard all of my money because my basic needs are fine, right? And because I've made all that money, and it doesn't keep you from working. You can work and you can still make that money, but you can only keep a certain amount of that money. And then the rest of it goes into the public fund, right? For the public good.
Socialism or communism.
Fine.
Right?
But
I mean, that's what they would say. I'm just
well, I know. I'm just saying, but ethically you're saying like, okay, that would be great. So emotionally, we're not tying this to an ethos.
All
Okay.
right.
We're just trying to say, okay, in your brain space, if you said, okay, I have the ability to make and keep $5 million for myself.
Mhm.
Okay. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So if I had $5 million and I still chose to work, I would work, and all the money that I would earn would go towards charitable contributions, right? To organizations that I would really like to support. Okay. So that can fund Planned Parenthood, it can AMFAR, whatever you wanted to do. You could start a college trust fund.
Right.
You could do a lot of things with that money because you've capped your
Mhm.
5 mil, right?
So I get my $5 million annually. So if I'm whatever profession I'm in and I make $25 million, I get the 5,
yeah.
and then the 20 under this theory it gets distributed to charitable endeavors. Do I get to earmark on which charitable
Sure.
endeavors? Okay.
Let's just, for this instance, let's
Okay.
just say,
So if I want to give 20 million, if I want to give like $1 million to the food insecurities,
absolutely.
and I want to give more money to No Kid Hungry,
Yeah.
and I want to give for health care research and
Exactly. So-
Frostburg State University,
but it's-
University of Maryland research.
but it's, so the structure is you get to keep your $5 million.
Mhm.
You can invest that however you want. You could live off the interest if you wanted. You could retire and just live comfortably with your $5 million, right? You can do with that whatever you want. But if you make 5 over and over again and you have all this money, then you can, and you have to spend it by giving back, right? How is that terrible? Is that like a terrible existence? Do you
Well,
think
it's not like, I guess what I think we have to look at,
Mhm.
I don't know that I would do that.
Right.
But I think what I would do is what you said. I would be looking at, these are monopolies.
Yes.
And we have too much consolidated into too few people.
Well, yeah.
And we need to go.
We need to break it up.
We have laws. We need to enforce those laws.
Correct. And I will say the one case I'm keeping a very, very close eye on is the Google antitrust case.
Yes.
And if that happens, that'll set a precedent that will have a domino effect. And it doesn't matter how much money you give to a man in a ballroom. It's going to already, and there are tech companies that have already said, hey, if you do break this up, we'll buy it.
Right.
So Google cannot, in their legal defense, say nobody would ever buy this.
Right.
Because there are companies that are like, oh, we'll buy it.
Right.
Here's our bid.
Right.
We will put this bid in, and we'll do it, and we can prove that we can do it. So, I'm very, very keeping a very close eye on that one. But these are all philosophical things I think about when we talk about oligarchy and people having so much more money than everybody else. And it's like, what are you doing with that money? You're going into space. You're like,
I just am always amazed that we have to tell these guys to do the right thing.
I know.
I shouldn't have to tell you.
You know, once you have all the money, you go after power, right? Because that's
instead of, as opposed to when you have all the money, go after changing the world.
Exactly.
To make it a better place. And these guys don't think like that.
Right.
And
so
it's really unfortunate.
No.
And by the way, and I see guys like, Larry Ellison, like Oracle. He's 80 years old, dude. Like, you're not going to live forever. Come on, man. Just another boomer that won't leave the stage.
So, right, Jesus. Here's my thought on, so that was a huge shift brain-wise for me, this whole philosophical. Think about it. Think about like what you would do if you were totally comfortable and you didn't have to worry about your copays and your deductibles, and you weren't going to get good health care, and your kids could eat, and you could go to the doctor when you needed to, and you could do secondary education is paid for, and like all of those stressors that people are running on the wheel to maintain, those go away because you have the social systems in place that allow you to live well and not, suffer, and not being told you're not working hard enough, right? That's the thing. It's like, we could never work hard enough to make the amount of money that these guys do.
Correct. I could work every second of every day and I'll never make that.
Right. And, we're not making Otani money.
Right. No.
Right. But we're also sitting here going like, okay, there has to be a better way. Because what we're doing isn't working. So we've got to try to figure something else out. So when we have a FEMA issue, these people that can't buy a new furnace,
so by the way, Jeff Bezos, you're probably listening.
I can tag him.
Elon Musk, I hope you're not listening.
No.
Larry Ellison, probably hope you're not listening, but if you are, any Zuckerberg, you're probably listening because you probably have the place bugged. Tim Apple,
Tim Apple definitely has the place bugged.
Yeah, but
I'm an Apple fan.
Hey, why don't you just stroke a check for $30 million to the town of Western, to George's Creek, and do the right thing? You have the money. Like, seriously, just do the right. As she said, what would you do with the money? Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Okay, let's end on that note.
So no, I want to end on a much more positive note.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
tune in tomorrow to watch the University of Oregon play football.
Yes.
The University of Oregon is wearing Grateful Dead inspired uniforms.
They're pretty spectacular.
Instead of the steal your face, it says the Grateful Duck. It is awesome. So shout out to the University of Oregon. By the way, the Dead have played in Oregon multiple times. Don't forget, it's the home of Ken Keesley and the Merry Pranksters, which were, the Grateful Dead were synonymous with Ken Keesley and the house band
for acid trips.
For the electric Kool-Aid acid test and the trips. But yeah, Grateful Duck. And it's just amazing to me as you sit here and think, it's the 70th anniversary or 60th anniversary of the Grateful Dead, 60th anniversary.
Yeah, because Bobby's only 70.
Right. 1965 is when the Grateful Dead was founded. So 60 years later, the ultimate counterculture band is so mainstream.
Oh my God.
But the thing is, they didn't move. We just moved to them.
Right.
And so, no, the Grateful Dead didn't stop being exactly how they are. We've just accepted them, and there is no band that is more ingrained in the American culture in such a way over this.
Well, now it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. As we look back and you tell our story over 60
we've
years.
come a long way. My dad was like, don't put a steal your face on the back of your car.
Right. You're going to get pulled over by the cops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, do not do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, can I put Jerry with his hair blowing in the wind?
But, now it's like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I think if Jerry was here, God only knows what he would say, but I think he'd probably say something along the lines of, man, what a long, strange trip it's been.
Yeah.
So that's how I want to end. Grateful Duck, awesome.
Yeah.
Good for University of Oregon.
Well done.
Representing for the Grateful Dead. So I love it. I saw it. As soon as I saw it, I was sending it to you.
So be kind to one another.
Yeah.
Watch
the Go Ducks, man.
Go Ducks.
I'm all in for Oregon.
You're gonna have to go get some swag.
I'm all in for Oregon.
Do you know their like jersey sales are gonna be absolutely outrageous?
They're insane.
Oh my god,
yeah, dude.
Well, I mean, you have a really nice steely Notre
Dame. I do. I have that I got for someone got me for the holidays last year.
Yeah.
I have a Steal Your Base, which has an Orioles logo on.
Exactly.
I have a University of Maryland. I have the Bears with University says Terrapins, like the logo for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but they are.
You have you're deaded out.
Yeah, like, but it's just amazing. Like I sit there and think, like, I sit there and think when I found the Grateful Dead like 30 years ago. Okay, I mean that's where it's been.
Who introduced you to the Grateful Dead?
So I had a stepsister who followed the Dead, who was significantly older than me. The first time I heard of the Grateful Dead was like 87.
Okay. Fair.
And so I like. And then I had some friends, so it's probably like 90. It's actually a little more than 30 years ago. Probably like 92, 93 is when I started really listening to the Dead.
Do you want to know when I was introduced to the Grateful Dead?
You're probably very little.
I was like probably in the womb.
Right.
Yeah.
But because my parents, that wasn't their jam. My mom was Motown kind of gal. Okay?
My dad had the license plate Deadhead.
Right.
For the longest time. Yeah.
And so I, I had to find my own way to the Dead.
Of course.
But you always find it through someone else, man. That's how it just gets handed down from older sibling to younger or from parent to child. And just like I've handed it down to my child. But I was just like, for 30 couple years, they're the soundtrack of my life. And that's what makes them, it's just special. And so that's why I was just blown away when I saw Oregon doing that. I'm like, so shout out to the University of Oregon, go Ducks, and just do what they do.
Awesome. All right. Well,
so season 6, episode 4 in the books.
Yep.
So Lydia,
yes.
Obviously, folks, if you haven't figured it out, there's been 5 previous seasons, 3 previous
spectacular
episodes this season. So if you want to look back and find it, we appreciate it. Lydia, where all can they find us?
iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Audible.
Love Audible.
iHeartRadio, Deezer, Player FM, and YouTube.
Yep, you find us on YouTube. Just the audio version, not the.
Just see the beautiful Jack LaLanne.
Yep.
And you can, this is what I like about YouTube for people that don't want to be on their phones. Let's say. I don't want my phone on my desk. Okay, great. No problem. Pull it up on YouTube. Yeah. Close the window. Let it play. Do other things.
You can find us on Twitter at JackYDK. You can find Lydia on Twitter at
RTL Pod.
You can find me at JMGGMPG.
Awesome.
See you next time.
See ya.